Welcome to the Heartbreak Chronicles, where every story is a raw reflection of life. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned, give us a like to show your support, and share this episode with your friends. Don't forget to leave a comment and let us know what you think. Now, let's dive into today's story. In the bustling northern suburbs of Atlanta, an elegant two-story villa stands quietly in a lush green neighborhood. Here live a seemingly happy couple, Nathan and Sophia. Nathan is a senior copywriter at a leading advertising agency, while Sophia runs a popular yoga studio. They have been married for 10 years and are an enviable model couple in the eyes of their neighbors. However, the gears of fate always turn without notice. It was a sunny Saturday afternoon, and Nathan was supposed to be playing in a tennis match with his mixed doubles partner, Olivia. But the game is canceled due to sudden showers, and Nathan decides to go home early. Maybe catch a movie with Sophia? Nathan thought to himself, an involuntary smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. However, the moment he pushed open the door of his home, all the good illusions came to nothing. An unusual noise coming from the master bedroom made Nathan's heart sink. He held his breath as he cautiously made his way to the bedroom. The door to the room was ajar, and Nathan took a deep breath and gently pushed it open. The scene in front of him was like a sharp knife, stabbing hard into Nathan's heart. His wife Sophia is lying naked on the bed while a man is leaning over her. The man Nathan recognized him was their neighbor and his rival at the tennis club, Lucas. Nathan felt a wave of vertigo, as if his brain was frozen and he couldn't think. He stood frozen in the doorway, watching the two on the bed engrossed in their pleasures, not even noticing his presence. Finally, Sophia opened her eyes and saw Nathan standing in the doorway. A flash of panic flashed in her eyes, but she quickly regained her composure. "Nathan," she said calmly, "you're home early." Lucas noticed Nathan's presence at that point as well, and he panicked and tried to get up, but Sophia squeezed his shoulder. "Don't panic," she said to Lucas, then turned to Nathan. "We need to talk." Nathan felt like his legs were filled with lead, too heavy to move. His mind went blank, and he could only watch in disbelief as Sophia got up and pulled a robe from the closet and draped it over her. "Let's go to the parlor," Sophia said, her tone chillingly calm. Nathan followed her mechanically toward the living room, the rustle of Lucas getting dressed coming from behind him. In the living room, Sophia sat down on the couch while Nathan stood in front of her, feeling like a criminal awaiting trial. "Nathan," Sophia spoke up, "I think it's time for our marriage to end." The words hit Nathan's heart like a hammer. He opened his mouth, but couldn't make any sound. Sophia continued, "Lucas and I have been together for 6 months. I was going to wait to find a suitable time to tell you, but since you've already found out, let's get the word out." Nathan finally found his voice. "6 months?" His voice quivered. "You've been cheating on me behind my back for 6 months?" Sophia sighed. "Nathan, our marriage has been in trouble for a long time. You were always busy with work, and there was no passion between us anymore. Lucas gave me a new life, a new hope." Nathan felt a strong surge of anger come over him. "Then why didn't you just tell me? Why did you lie to me?" "Because I didn't want to hurt you," Sophia said, "but it seems like it might be worse this way now." Just then, Lucas walked into the living room as well. He looked a little embarrassed, but there was a hint of provocation in his eyes. "Nathan," he said, "I'm sorry things have turned out this way, but I really love Sophia, and I'll take good care of her." Nathan felt like he was going to explode. He clenched his fists, trying to restrain the urge to rush up and punch Lucas in the face. "Get out," he growled low. "Get out of my house." Lucas looked at Sophia, who nodded. He then turned away, leaving Nathan and Sophia to face each other in suffocating silence. "I've contacted a lawyer," Sophia broke the silence, "and we can sign the divorce papers as soon as possible. I won't be asking for your alimony, but I would like the house and half the savings." Nathan felt like he'd been punched hard. 10 years of their marriage, and that's how lightly Sophia wrote it off. "Are you that desperate to divorce me?" Nathan asked bitterly. Sophia stands up and walks over to Nathan. "Nathan, we both need to start over. You're a good man, but we're not right for each other anymore. I'm sure you can find your own happiness too." Nathan looked at the woman in front of him, with whom he had spent 10 years of his life. and was suddenly overwhelmed by the strangeness of the situation. They had so many great memories, and now this. Well, Nathan finally said, exhaustion and disappointment in his voice. If that's what you want, then so be it. Over the next few days, Nathan's life was thrown into chaos. He took a week's vacation and barricaded himself in his house, trying to make sense of the sudden change of heart. Sophia moved in with Lucas and only comes back to pack when Nathan isn't home. Nathan's emotions vacillate between anger, sadness, and despair. He began to think back on their marriage, trying to figure out when it started to go wrong. Maybe Sophia was right and the passion between them did fade, but Nathan had always assumed it was just a normal part of married life. However, when he thinks of Sophia and Lucas cheating on him behind his back for 6 months, a strong wave of anger rushes through him. Not only had they betrayed him, they had been playing him without his knowledge. To add to Nathan's humiliation, Lucas is his rival at the tennis club. He remembered the smug look on Lucas' face every time he beat himself on the court, and now he feared there was something else hidden in that smile. Over time, Nathan's emotions gradually shifted from sadness to anger. He begins to think about how he can get back at Sophia and Lucas and give them a taste of betrayal as well. It was then that Nathan remembered a high-class escort agency that one of his college friends had once mentioned. He had just laughed it off at the time, not realizing that it would come in handy now. Nathan turned on his computer and started searching for information about that company. A plan gradually formed in his mind. He would find a woman more beautiful and attractive than Sophia, and show her love in front of Lucas and Sophia to give them a taste of jealousy. More importantly, he wants the woman to seduce Lucas so Sophia can see for herself how easily Lucas can be seduced. He's going to make Sophia realize that it's not just a good husband she's abandoning, but a man who can attract any woman. Nathan's eyes glowed with excitement. He knew the plan could cost a lot of money, but it would be worth it for the revenge. He's going to make Sophia and Lucas pay for their betrayal. With that, an elaborate plan for revenge takes shape in Nathan's mind. He knows that in the coming days, he will be in for a great revenge drama, and Sophia and Lucas will be the unwitting supporting characters in that drama. Nathan sat at his computer, staring intently at the screen. For the past few days, he has spent almost all his time looking for the right, perfect girlfriend. He knew that for his revenge plan to work, this woman had to be impeccable. Finally, after perusing countless files, Nathan's eyes are drawn to a woman named Zoe. Zoe in the photo has a stunning appearance: long dark hair, deep brown eyes, a tall figure, and a mysterious smile. What's more, her profile shows that she has a very high emotional intelligence and excellent social skills. Nathan took a deep breath and clicked the contact button. A few minutes later, his cell phone rang. "Hello, this is high-class escort service. This is Henry. May I ask if you are Mr. Nathan?" A low male voice came from the other end of the line. "Yes, I'm Nathan. Glad to be of service, Mr. Nathan. I see you are interested in our Zoe. She is indeed one of our finest escorts. However, I must warn you that she is quite expensive." Nathan gritted his teeth. "It's okay. Money isn't an issue. I need her for at least a month." There was silence on the other end of the line for a moment. Then Henry said, "This is a rather unusual request, Mr. Nathan. However, if you can afford it, we can certainly arrange it for you." For the next half hour, Nathan explained his plan in detail. Henry chuckled softly as he listened. "Interesting plan, Mr. Nathan. I'm sure Zoe will be happy to take up the challenge." A few days later, Nathan stood in front of his house, nervously awaiting Zoe's arrival. Nathan's heart raced as a shiny black BMW slowly pulled up in front of his house. The car door opened and a beautiful woman gracefully stepped out. She was wearing a simple white dress, but it complemented her perfect figure. Nathan has to admit that the photos completely fail to show Zoe's true charms. "Hello, Nathan." Zoe smiled and extended her hand to him. "Nice to meet you." Nathan took her hand in his and felt a slight shiver run through him. "Hello, Zoe. Welcome to my home." Once inside, Nathan tells Zoe the details of the plan. She listened attentively, nodding or offering suggestions from time to time. "So, you want me to wow at the pool party, do you?" Zoe asked with a grin. Nathan nodded. "That's right. I want everyone, especially Lucas and Sophia, to see that I've found a better woman than Sophia. Zoe said thoughtfully, I see. Then, I suggest we have an accidental encounter. You can go to the pool first, and I'll arrive later. That would create a bigger splash. Nathan was pleasantly surprised by Zoe's suggestion. That's a great idea. I knew I was right to come to you. Zoe winked mischievously. Trust me, when I come out, everyone's jaws will drop. Saturday is fast approaching. Nathan arrived early at the community pool and picked a spot with a good view to sit. He saw that Lucas and Sophia had come along and were sitting on the other side of the pool, joking. Nathan held back his inner rage and acted as if nothing had happened. He knew that a good show was soon to come. Sure enough, just as Nathan was beginning to worry about whether or not Zoe was going to show up, the entire pool area suddenly went quiet. All eyes were drawn to the entrance. Zoe walks in slowly, wearing an almost sheer white smock with a sexy red bikini underneath. Her presence was like hitting the pause button, and all movement and conversation stopped. Nathan couldn't help but hold his breath. Even he, knowing it was all arranged, was shocked by Zoe's beauty. Zoe looks around, then smiles and walks toward Nathan. Hi, honey. She leaned down and gave Nathan a soft kiss on the cheek. I'm sorry I'm late. Nathan felt the eyes of the people around them focus on them. He forced himself to calm down and smiled. It's okay. It's good you're here. Zoe gracefully sat down in the recliner next to Nathan and began to slowly remove her smock. The action caught the eye of all the men, including Lucas. Nathan noticed a look of displeasure flash across Sophia's face. She gave Lucas a hard stare, then took his arm forcefully. Zoe turned to Nathan and said in a sweet voice, Honey, can you help me with the sunscreen? Nathan nodded and began slowly applying sunscreen to Zoe's smooth back. He could feel the envious glances of those around him, especially Lucas, who practically glued his eyes to Zoe. For the next few hours, Zoe plays the role of Nathan's charming girlfriend perfectly. Not only did she show off her graceful swimming strokes in the pool, but she also showed great social skills when talking to other people. Nathan noticed that more and more people were starting to strike up conversations with him, obviously wanting to take the opportunity to get to know Zoe. Even a few of the wives who were usually indifferent to him were now becoming unusually enthusiastic. But what pleased Nathan the most was Lucas and Sophia's reaction. Lucas was visibly attracted to Zoe and peeked at her from time to time. Sophia, on the other hand, looked offended and glared at Zoe and Nathan every now and then. When Nathan and Zoe left the pool later that day, he felt more content than ever. He knew that his plan was halfway there. When we got home, Zoe smiled and said to Nathan, I think our debut was a great success. Did you see the look on Lucas' face? Nathan nodded with a triumphant smile on his face. Yes, I saw that. Sophia is about to be consumed by jealousy too. Zoe looked at Nathan seriously. Next, we need to get you more active in your social circle. I'll help you rebuild your confidence and show everyone how good you are. Nathan looked at Zoe gratefully. Thank you, Zoe. I'm beginning to believe that this program is really going to work. Zoe smiled and patted Nathan's hand. Trust me, when we're done, Lucas and Sophia are going to regret everything they've done. Now, let's start preparing for the next step in the program. Thus, Nathan and Zoe's sweet trap plan is officially underway, while Lucas and Sophia have no idea what kind of storm they are about to face. Over the next few days, Zoe began to frequent Nathan's social circle. Her charisma is not limited to her appearance, but is also reflected in her great social skills. At a tennis club party, Zoe gracefully takes Nathan's arm and talks to his friends. She seemed to know everyone by heart, chatting about her tennis skills, talking about her work with great insight, and even had a unique perspective on gardening. Nathan, where did you find such a perfect girlfriend? One of Nathan's friends asked quietly, eyes full of envy. Nathan gave a fake smile. Sometimes fate is just so marvelous. Zoe quickly became the center of attention. She always finds the right topics to talk about and makes everyone feel comfortable and happy. Nathan noticed that even those who had once ignored him were now offering to strike up conversations. And with Lucas, Zoe takes a more subtle tack. She would touch Lucas's arm unobtrusively or lean a little closer while talking to him. These subtle gestures are enough to make Lucas' heart race without arousing Sophia's suspicions. Lucas, I heard you used to be a professional tennis player? Zoe asked in mock surprise at a club dinner. No wonder you're such a great player. Maybe you can give me some instruction someday? Lucas' eyes lit up. Sure, I'll teach you anytime. Sophia cringed in disbelief. But Zoe had deftly changed the subject and started complimenting Sophia's dress sense. Nathan watched it all with a mixture of inner amazement and satisfaction. Zoe has far exceeded his expectations. Not only does she fit perfectly into his social circle, but she manages to get Lucas' attention without making Sophia too suspicious. One night, on the way home from dropping Zoe off, Nathan couldn't help but exclaim, "Zoe, you're amazing. I've never seen anyone win everyone over so quickly." Zoe smiled. "That's what I do, Nathan. But I must say, your friends are very interesting. Especially Lucas, he seems to be interested in me." A flicker of amusement crossed Nathan's face. "Yes, I noticed. Looks like our plan is going well." Zoe nodded. "That's right. We need to take it a step further, though. Next, we're going to get Lucas to come forward and pursue me. And Sophia, we're going to make her feel more jealous and upset than she's ever felt before." Nathan felt a surge of excitement. "Sounds great. Do you have any specific ideas?" Zoe smiled mysteriously. "Just leave it to me. I promise, the rest of the play will be even better." Looking at Zoe with confidence, Nathan felt his revenge plan was going in the best direction possible. He began to anticipate what would happen next, and at the same time felt a twinge of unease. He hadn't expected to enjoy this revenge so much. The Eden Point neighborhood's annual summer dance went off as planned, and the entire community was immersed in a fun atmosphere. For Sophia, however, this night would become one of the most painful memories of her life. Sophia, dressed in an elegant blue gown, stood in a corner of the ballroom, her eyes searching the crowd for Lucas from time to time. Her husband, Nathan, had just told her a few minutes ago that he'd seen Lucas heading toward the club's lounge. Maybe he's just going to the restroom, Sophia thought to herself, trying to calm her inner turmoil. But Nathan's words echoed in her ears. "Lucas has certainly been acting a little strange lately, hasn't he?" Sophia bit her lip and decided to see for herself. She walked briskly toward the club's lounge, her heartbeat becoming faster with each step. As she reached the door to the lounge, a terrible premonition struck her. She took a deep breath and gently pushed the door open, leaving a crack. Through the gap, she saw a scene that broke her heart. Lucas was wrapping his arms around a beautiful woman in a long red dress, their faces extremely close together, with lust in their eyes. Sophia felt a wave of dizziness as her world seemed to fall apart in an instant. She wanted to scream, to rush in and question Lucas, but she couldn't move her body as if it were frozen. Just then, Lucas lowered his head and kissed the woman. The image was like a sharp blade, stabbing hard into Sophia's heart. Unable to contain herself any longer, she violently pushed the door open and stormed in. "Lucas, what are you doing?" she screamed, anger and pain in her voice. Lucas and the woman, startled by the sudden intrusion, quickly separated. It's then that Sophia sees the woman's face. It's Zoe, Nathan's new girlfriend. This discovery shocked and confused Sophia even more. With panic and guilt written all over his face, Lucas panicked and defended himself. "Sophia, honey, you've got it all wrong. It's not what you think." Sophia walks angrily towards Lucas with tears in her eyes. "It's not what I think? Then tell me what I saw. You and Zoe cuddling together. What do you call that?" Sophia walks angrily towards Lucas with tears in her eyes. "It's not what I think? Then tell me what I saw. You and this vixen cuddling together. What do you call that?" Her voice trembled as the pain inside her nearly overwhelmed her. She remembered the sweet times they had had and the promises Lucas had made to her. Today, it's all a ridiculous lie. "Sophia, please let me explain." Lucas tried to get closer to Sophia, but she took a step back and avoided his touch. "Explain? What else do you have to explain?" There was sarcasm in Sophia's voice. "Are you going to tell me that you were just rehearsing a play? Or that she accidentally fell and you just happened to catch her?" Lucas was open-mouthed and didn't know how to respond. His silence reinforced Sophia's worst suspicions. Sophia felt a twinge of heaven as her legs began to weaken. She held onto the table beside her and struggled to remain standing. Her heart is filled with conflicting emotions: anger, pain, disappointment, humiliation, and an imperceptible hint of remorse. Remorse that she ever trusted Lucas so much. Remorse that she abandoned Nathan for him. "We're done, Lucas," Sophia said at last, her voice low and firm, "and I never want to see you again." Just then, Zoe stood up, her expression suddenly serious and calm. "Enough," she said. "It's time to end this farce." Everyone looked at her in confusion. Zoe took a deep breath and began to explain. "I think I need to clarify the situation. First of all, I'm no vixen. I'm a professional escort who was hired by Nathan." Sophia looked in shock at Nathan, who suddenly appeared in the doorway, who acknowledged the fact with an expressionless nod. The woman continued, "It was all an elaborate deception. Nathan wanted to give you a taste of what it's like to be betrayed. Sophia, you betrayed Nathan by getting involved with Lucas. Nathan wanted you to know firsthand what it's like to be cheated on." Sophia felt a wave of vertigo as her world turned upside down once again. She looked over at Nathan with a mixture of emotions in her eyes: shock, confusion, shame, and a touch of uncanny admiration. Admiration that he had managed to devise such an intricate plan of revenge. You actually devised such a complicated plan to get back at us?" Her voice trembled as she questioned Nathan as much as she tortured herself. Nathan laughed bitterly. "I was blinded by anger and jealousy at the time. I only wanted to give you guys a taste of what it's like to be betrayed. Now that I think about it, it was indeed a bit childish and extreme." Sophia felt a sudden, intense wave of shame and remorse. She realizes that it was her own betrayal that led to this. Not only did she hurt Nathan, who loved her dearly, but she got herself into such a ridiculous scam. Just then, Olivia, Nathan's mixed doubles partner, appears in the doorway. Once she got the lay of the land, her eyes swept over everyone in the room, finally resting on Sophia. "Sophia," Olivia's voice was filled with disappointment and anger. "How could you do this to Nathan? He always loved you so much and you betrayed him. Do you know how much Nathan suffered when he found out about you and Lucas?" Sophia lowers her head, groundless. Tears began to slide down her cheeks. She felt more alone and desperate than ever. She loses Nathan's love, her trust in Lucas, and even her self-respect. In this moment, Sophia finally realizes how serious a mistake she has made. Not only did she hurt the people who loved her, she hurt herself. She realizes that true love needs to be cherished and preserved, not betrayed at will. When everyone had left, Sophia stood alone in the empty lounge, tears streaming silently down her face. She knew that from now on, her life would be turned upside down. But she also understands that this may be a chance to start over, a chance to learn to value and be honest. And so, on a supposedly joyous summer night, Sophia experiences the most painful betrayal and deepest realization of her life. She knew that there was still a long road ahead of her, but she decided to be brave and learn from her mistakes. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have a story to share about your own or someone else's experience, please feel free to contact me. Take care.